But he certainly would support a study of reparations. We understands that we don't need a study to take action right now on systemic racism, so he wants to take actions within his own government in the meantime.
So Joe Biden said he want to study reparations before he give reparations for black people. But how long did he study the anti-Asian hate bill before he gave the Asian community $156 million? And how long did he study before he gave the anti-LGBTQ hate bill $100 million? And how long did he study before he asked Congress for $30 billion for Afghan relief? And how long did he study after giving Israel $3.8 billion? But now Joe Biden has another group that he wants to give reparations to.
Administrations and negotiations to pay millions of dollars in reparations to families who were separated at the U.S.-Mexico border under Trump's zero-tolerance policy. The payments would amount to $450,000 per person.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, family. We greet you all in peace and love with no hatred in our heart. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And this is a first for the features. We are doing a double feature on the features. And, you know, I got some time to kill. And we have a guest on the channel, Ahmed bin Hanbal. Ahmed bin Hanbal, please hit the link and come on live and show yourself, okay? Y'all know me. I don't ever, like, rarely answer trolls or anything like that. But, you know, I'm feeling kind of generous today. So we're going to let the brother, Ahmed bin Hanbal, come on the line and ask your question. Anyways, the reason why we're doing this live, you know, we're going to be a little bit petty. You know, I never ever petty, but, you know, I'm just feeling generous today. All right, so let me just share with you, right? Because, you know, we get tons and tons of trolls. We mostly ignore them, largely ignore them, because they're just a waste of time, right? So let me just share with you, okay? If Ahmed bin Hanbal wants to come on and ask your question. Don't be afraid. Why are you afraid now? The link is there. Hit the link. Why are you afraid? Look at this guy. Answer my question. Look, he's demanding that we answer his question. Us, we don't really care about, you know, people's demands like that. But here's the question, because this question we dealt with so many times on this channel. So many times, right? And we are very generous in inviting people to come and express their displeasure with our pro-blackness, okay? and are dealing with issues directly related with our people. You understand? So I haven't been humble. I don't understand where this guy is. Anyways, shall I show you? Shall I show you? Anyways, look, he ran. He ran already. Unbelievable. Look at him. Look at him. Come on live. What's the problem? Ask your question like a man. See, this is what they do. This is what they do. They're very brave behind keyboards. Very, very brave behind keyboards. See, look, he's coming to our channel and he's telling us that we are supposed to concede to his demands. You get it? This is how these people are, you know? Anyways, look at this. Let's look at this question first, all right? Because this is what they do, right? Like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. Okay, look at these guys. How many times have we answered this question? Right? No, we just tired. We're not answering this no more. Anyways, let's have a look here. So this brother, Ahmed bin Hanbal, as you can see, not once, but under 2 different accounts, okay? The keyboard warrior, okay? The keyboard warrior, and he's asking exactly the same question on 2 different accounts, okay? And now I'm giving him the chance to come and ask his question like a man, live, so that we can answer. And now he's hiding behind his keyboard, still hiding behind his keyboard. You know why? You know why they do this, family? It's because they get so triggered. Okay? They get so upset that we stand up for ourselves and go in the face of their zaddies that they can't control themselves. They have to go behind their keys. Ah! Hypocrite! Ah! This is what this guy does. Come say it now. Say it live. Let everybody see who you are. I'm not hiding. Anyways, let's read this question, shall we? Okay. He said it twice or 2 different accounts, okay? It's ironic that you accuse Muslims of being hypocritical for endorsing Andrew Tate and Daniel Hakikachu, who are at least Muslims, but yet you promote the Nation of Kufr. Talking about Nation of Islam, right? Talk about Nation of Islam, okay? I think he means as, there's a typo here. As if you're not contradicting yourself. Okay. And then I just left this I just left this comment. How many accounts do you got, bro? Sign in all of them and troll away, right? So now the troll is getting trolled and he can't stand it. He can't stand it. Look at him. Look, he's here in the comments. He's brave for the comments, but he won't come on. This is how they do. Ask your question. Come and ask. Come on. Look at what he's doing. Look what he's doing. Look. Says the guy who comes out of his way to make a YouTube channel because how triggered he is on social media. Family, have you ever in 3 years, okay, ever see me get triggered from a friggin' post? I'm doing this because I got time. That's it. I want to see if these guys are as brave as they say they are. That's it. That's all I want to see. Even if I leave right now and I don't answer, it won't do nothing to me. It won't do nothing to me. But this is how these guys are. Look, he's only upset because we blasted his zaddy, Daniel Hakikachu, and we were right. And all your YouTubian da'i, at least they had to come and backtrack on all of their stuff promoting Daniel Hakikachu. They had to backtrack. If I want to put a clip from Louis Farrakhan right now, I'll do it. I ain't worried about you. Like, why are we? See, you got to understand, this is a new day, okay? All that small time stuff, you're trying to say that, oh, we're promoting the Nation of Islam. All that stuff don't work on us. That stuff don't work on us. What you mean, Bilal? Look at here. How many Muslims, answer now, how many Muslims, Sunni Muslims, black Sunni Muslims, do you know that have left Islam, Sunni Islam, to become Nation of Islam? How many Muslims do you know like this? Put the number in the chat, please. Put the number in the chat. How many Muslims do you know? And how many times we said this on the channel anyways? Like, so many times. Is there any fear? Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. Ain't nobody leaving Orthodox Islam to become no follower of Elijah Muhammad. That's not happening. Now, how many Muslims do you know that became alt-right? Put it in the chat, please. You don't even have to put a number. Just say a lot, a few, a couple. Just quantify it like that with some adjectives. Quantify like that. So this Gladys Knight and his pips here. Look. How many Muslims do you know that are alt-right today because of Daniel Hakikichu? Because of your YouTubian elites calling the Muslims to alt-right? And how many Muslims do you know like this? Thank you. A lot. Thank you. So there is no fear at all of Muslims becoming nation. Mind you, not once in a life did you ever hear the Feachaz talk about, you know what? Let me promote the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is good. The Nation of Islam is great. You never heard that. My position has always been the same position from jump, which is we as Black people need to have outreach with the nation. We need to call them to Islam. That's it. That has always been my position, because so many Black people came to Islam from the nation. So what sense does it make that us as Black people listen to foreigners and outsiders and people who are not in our family dictate and tell us what our relationship should be with the nation? Do we go to India and tell those Indians and Pakistanis and South Asians what their relationship should be with Brahmalis and Deobandis and stuff? You ever hear us doing that? No. Never. But these people, because we don't got a language of our own, we're speaking the slave master's language, and because they know the slave master's language, they come into our spaces and our conversations that we were having together as a family, and they think that they can tell us what we can and can't do. You get it? Look at this. Look, Ahmed bin Hanbal. Look. I am Puerto Rican. I found Islam through the Nation of Islam. Where are these Muslims leaving Islam to become nation? Where are they? Do they exist somewhere? Please point us in that direction. So now I post a link for Sister Donna Farrakhan in which she's addressing Black women directly. Here comes this dude, Ahmed bin Hanbal, aka Amir 1, talking about hypocritical and stuff. Like, what? What? Just point us in the direction of these Muslims who are leaving Islam to become NOI. Just point us in that direction. Do you have an argument? Do you have an argument? Now, Tell us that there are no such thing as alt-right Muslims, as red pill Muslims. Tell us that in the chat, because you're too cowardly to come on and talk directly. But you're very brave behind the keyboard. 2 different accounts, bro. Look at this. 2 different accounts. Look, all this. Look at this Nation of Kufr and stuff. You know, you think this is what he thinks. He actually thinks he's getting under our skin, and he's really not. It's really not. What's happening is that we're making an example of this, so it can be recorded. Other, bones and biscuits just like you, who want to come into our family chat and tell us what we can't do. That's what it is. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for showing the world how brave you guys are. That's all it is. That's all it is. We don't go into your house and tell you how to cook your biryani and stuff, do we? It's a little bit too extra spicy. Put some less spice and less oil and stuff. We don't do that with you. We're talking to our own people here. Who are you? Go back with Danny on them, right? If you're so concerned, right, and be alt-righter just like him. Like, what's the problem? Why are you all the way over here disturbing our peace and stuff? Like, why? And on top of that, you still look at this. Almost 20 minutes, still haven't come on. Look at this. These are the brave people that come to advise us, family. I want y'all to see this. These are your brothers and sisters. They can't stand the fact that we stand up for ourselves. They can't take it. It burns them. You get it? It burns them. We are only brothers to them as long as we can go to the masjid, clean their toilets, vacuum the floors, and donate to the bazaars and stuff. That's the extent of our brotherhood. Now here we are saying very clearly, openly and clearly, that black folks, this pretend brotherhood, if you keep falling for it, then you are the ones need to be blamed. Right? These people are not your brothers, not concerned about you at all. Look at this. Where's the hypocrisy now? Ahmed bin Hanbal, look at Ahmed bin Hanbal and everything. Where's the hypocrisy? Where is it? Who else want to come on? Because this dude, he's right now. He's only brave behind a keeper. Come and tell him how you feel, family. Come on. Links in the chat. How many times do we give the same answer over and over and over and over again? Now it's going to be recorded. Now it's going to be recorded. Bring your proof that we are promoting the Nation of Islam here. Bring it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Rabia.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This isn't these aren't the only 2 accounts. He has more because he's been in other chats before.
Oh wow.
With the same rhetoric.
That's a proper keyboard warrior. What?
Yeah, like he's been in a few other conversations, and every time he does like it's always him. It's always him. It's always the same account. Yeah, it's always him. It's always the same account. It's always Ahmed or I think he has another one because I mean the rhetoric is the same. So after watching the live, I watch all your videos. So after watching all the lives and after seeing how somebody types, when somebody's trolling, and he's like, he's your number one troll, especially
oh really?
Especially when it comes to
I didn't.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to dealing with black issues.
Many. You know what I mean?
You get a lot, but I think he's the only one that actually disrupts your chat or your lives. Because I remember one time, I think he came on your mic one time, and tried to try to deflect from what the conversation was about before. So the fact that he's not on here now, like it's not surprising.
Well,
but this is a prime example.
That's why I did the live, because I wanted to catch him, right, to see if these guys are brave. You clearly have more balls than him. Stuff for a lot, you know what I mean? Like you're a female, you're on here, and this dude, you know, he's only brave to troll. That's it. You know what I mean? He's only brave to troll. Yeah.
Trolls are going to do what trolls do, right? It's like this is the prime example of why we need these conversations. This is exactly why you have this channel. This is the reason why. This is the reason why.
You're concerned then. You know, brother Saeed, go ahead, bro.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Yes.
Go ahead, what you got?
I mean, I just want to announce, you know, that I literally came into the fold through the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
This brother was considered like a study buddy of mine inside of a Bible study that I used to attend to. And I would always ask questions like, hey, you know, this isn't really adding up. This isn't adding up. And the brother used to tell me, just listen to the guy, just listen and let him teach the class. And then after, he and I, we explored, like we studied, we opened up the Quran and we just started studying, and he explained to me how everything, you know, came together, and or like with the prophethood of the Holy Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, if it wasn't for him, I'd probably still be thinking Jesus, you know, died on the crucifix and all kinds of stuff. And it was just it was crazy. But if it wasn't for him, again, I'd still be asking Jesus to provide for me in this life and everything and all kinds of stuff.
And I'm so happy that you came on and said that, bro, because how many stories we got like this in the West? You know, we have our own narrative, and then we have these hostile people telling us what our narrative should and shouldn't be. You all just got here. Many of us, we would never know who Allah is, who the Prophet Muhammad says. We never heard about the name Allah, and that's until the Nation told us who Allah was. You get it? You know? So many of us. And how many imams have became Muslim through the Nation, including Imam Siraj. Okay? Sheikh Abdullah Hakim, he was a Black Panther before he became a Muslim. I myself, you know, the first time I heard about Allah's name, his sister Rabia just said it. She herself, we didn't know about Islam until the Nation told us who Allah was, the Prophet Muhammad was, and then through our journey, we graduated to real Islam. But how many of us are like that?
The majority of us are like that. I mean, I remember listening to, I had Farrakhan on repeat. I had Ahmed Deedat on repeat, you know, like first it started off with Farrakhan, then I learned about Ahmed Deedat, and I just, you know, and then from there, you learn. It's like we went through a lot of mistakes to get to where we are now, and we still go through mistakes, but at least we are evolving, right? We can't say, I mean, if you're born Muslim from overseas and you are in that lifestyle, this is nothing more than a lifestyle to you, because then you come over here and then you try to adapt to what everybody else in the West is doing. And that's why, you know, a lot of your communities are in destruction. Look at your kids. But you find wrong with us from learning from at least somebody who's trying to teach us how to do better. And what? It makes no sense.
I agree too. And it's because when he brought me in to Islam and everything, like he would even tell me it's okay to go and sit amongst the Christian people even when they're speaking about Jesus, because anytime someone brings up the remembrance of the Lord, it's a good thing. The people derive benefit from it, and Allah guides through these kinds of channels. Alhamdulillah. What he does is amazing, because we would actually, me and him, his name is Brother James, may Allah forgive all of his sins, Ameen. He we would be in the study group with Christians, and we're Muslims, and we would just listen. There would be screaming, talking in tongue, and hallelujah and everything. And he would just tell me, he'd be like, "It's okay. They can say all of this, and it'd be so miraculous how Allah like allows them to benefit out of this, the knowledge they say." Because I was a straight Christian, and it wasn't until I used to run a room, right, with these Trinidadian ladies, and they talked to me about certain things, and I was like, there's nothing you can tell me to ever make me ever think Jesus isn't Lord. You know, I don't care what you tell me. And they were real calm about it. They were like, it's all good. All we say is just be open-minded. That's all we're saying. And they left me at that. And then later on, I met the brother from the Nation of Islam, and he would tell me, like, listen, you know, like, don't eat the pork, don't eat the swine, don't eat any of that. And if it wasn't for him, I'd probably still be like, you know, fornicating, all these crazy things, and drinking, and without him, like, I know, like, I would have fell back into temptation. So I wouldn't be Muslim if it wasn't for him, from the brother from the Nation of Islam, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and this story, how many times have we heard it? You know, Muslims became a Muslim through the nation. They learned discipline in the nation. They learned brotherhood in the nation. They learned how to have husband and wife skills in the nation. And the natural progression from the nation is to what? Stay in a nation?
Yeah, no, it's to come into Islam.
It's to come into Islam. That's a natural progression. It's always like that. It's been like that since I could remember. And the only time it stopped when these foreigners started coming here, and then they started telling us that we should be refuting the nation instead of making da'wah to them. Don't make da'wah to the nation, right? Don't call them to Allah. Refute them. Like this Gladys Knight and his pips, right? Brave on a keyboard, right? Just invited himself to the cookout. Invited himself. You know what I mean? Where my plate?
He continuously invites himself.
You know what I mean? Nobody invite, like, all this work you got for us. Where's your work against Daniel and you know, the alt-right? Where is it? Where's your resume? Yeah. You know what I mean? Muslims are becoming alt-right. They are becoming red pill as we speak. Where's your resume against that? But you come over here and talk down to black folk like our experience is invalid. We have a Puerto Rican brother telling you he became Muslim for the nation. So what you got to say about that? Where are these Muslims leaving Islam to become nation, bro? Like, where are they? But anyways, these people, they're not actually sincere at all. They don't have any type of valid, grievance. Their grievance is not valid. Their only goal is to put us down. That's it. To get under our skin. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing with that too, because I want to say something about something that you said.
Look now. Don't you look brave? I've been humble. Go ahead, sister.
Here's the thing, like, I don't even know if it's that people are becoming alt-right because of these fools, or if it was something that they just had in them, that now Daniel Hakikuju gave them the format or the platform to actually express how they truly felt. Because I remember, you know, just when being newly Muslim and whatever, you know, they'll tell you, like, they don't really see you as Muslim. These other people groups, they don't really see you as Muslim because you are revert and you're black.
Well, that's
right?
A different thing, right? That's a different thing. That's just their innate racism, right? But that's just because you're racist doesn't mean that you're politically leaning to the left, you know,
or the right, for that matter.
Or the right for that matter, right?
Right, but right? It's for me, it's just like, okay,
this alt-right thing with the Muslims has been going on since about 2016, I would say, right? But really, back then it was like not much, but it was the Salafis and their alignment with Daniel Hakikuchu which blew this thing up.
Right, it was disgusting. But you know what? It kind of reminds me of when, you know, it kind of reminds me of when Trump was first elected. You know, he kind of gave platforms for people who had those feelings of racism in them to actually speak out against it now, because now, hey, you got your top cheerleader as the head of your house now. So now you can be more open to say what you want and do what you want, and you know, now you feel brave enough to be your sounding board. But it's just, man, this whole thing is just like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's like, this is the reason why we need this platform, because we still have people like this try to come into our community and tell us how we should function.
Exactly. I really appreciate that. Go ahead, brother.
I just want to say this too. Like, I remember when he told me, he was like, you know, reciting the Quran at night for an hour, you will receive reward. Like, I think he said like 70 years of praying or something like that, right? And this is something that's like, it surprised me. Or he said, I think each letter was like 10 good deeds or something. And at that time, you know, it made me think, and it made me really want to learn more about the origin of the religion of Islam. And because when I was a Christian, like, I literally was just okay with just not knowing what really was going down behind the scenes and stuff like that. Like I would literally be like, okay, my grandfather's here, you know, he's the one leading the prayer over the supper, and I love him, so he's got to be correct in where he's standing, you know. And I never really had like any like drive to go ahead and ask, you know, wow, God, you know, God, he sent, you know, his son and all of that. And then it wasn't until, again, him and I doing the reading and the studying, and that it actually took me out of major kufr, major shirk, you know, associating gods with Allah. And I mean, I don't know, I can't be more thankful to him, you know. And it's just, I don't know what to say. I haven't seen him in, I think, about 6 years since I became Muslim, because I moved away, and you know, we met in a shelter. I'm gonna be honest. This was back in because I lived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a long time, and we was actually in a shelter together at the time. And the thing that really drew me to him, I'm gonna be honest, it was that, like, literally when I would sit with him, you can see like how nature, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like everything was just like animals would just come up to him. Like, it was so weird. Like, I'm like, let me say it like this, like animals and cats, everything. Like, I don't want to sound like crazy or not, but it was like he just had a vibe, like a really good vibe. And I don't know, like, again, it's just that you know, and then he told me about cleaning myself before I prayed to God, and how appropriate I felt this was, like, to actually wash my face, wash my hands, brush. I didn't do that as a Catholic and a Christian. And you know, I thought I can just come out of a dance or whatever, come out of a club and pray to God, and he told me, he's like, you have to purify yourself. You have to do this before you talk to God, you know. And that also brought a lot of realism into to the religion of Islam for me. And yeah, it's incredible. It's really incredible.
All right, so I want to deal with this comment here. It's from Aussie12. Salaam Alaikum. Salam. I saw this vid from Quebec Service, who showed a school meeting in Dearborn about parents calling against LGBTs. Maybe this is where the alt-right leanings come from, not necessarily race. No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all, right? If you've been following this channel for a while, you know very clearly we called it out not years ago that the alt-right leanings are being pushed to the Muslims, right? We outlined this so many times, right? It's being pushed to the Muslims, and Muslims are just eating it up. Right? They're eating up pure, unadulterated alt-right political leanings, like pure alt-right leanings. Had nothing to do with no LGBT whatever. We talked about many times, and we have an entire playlist with Daniel, okay, and how his whole system works. And ironically, the people are refuting him now. How are they getting the information? From the things that we put out, okay? That's the ironic thing. You get it? So we said very clearly that Daniel Hikikuchi has a funnel, the way that it works. He funnels his information. His YouTube and his Facebook are like to catch people, mostly his YouTube. They catch the unsuspecting Muslims. Then he funnels it down to his Facebook, then his blog, and then he leads you to his Telegram where he shows his true beliefs. Right? And as anybody can do this, just go to his Telegram. You're going to see his political agenda. It's not difficult. It's not even hidden, right? It's there very plainly. And we posted many things from his Telegram. And these same people are refuting him. Where are they getting the stuff to refute him from? Where are they getting it from? His Telegram. Go figure. Go figure. Right? So now, because Muslims from the East, when they originally got to the West, it was the liberal governments that allowed their parents and their grandparents to come here. So Muslims from the East have always been left-leaning. You know, they've always been liberal in their political agendas. And they've always, if you go to any masjid, they're always telling you to vote, you know, Democrat or liberal, whatever, wherever it is, right? Right? This has been from time, right? But now, oh, I thought you were done with the last slide. Blah, blah, yes, this is the first double feature in his history, thanks to this troll, right? Right? So now, right? Now with the alt-right Muslims, they are now, because you have now at least 3 generations of these Muslims who grew up with this liberal type of mindset, right? You know, and now you have these alt-right Muslims. They're calling to the opposite now, and they're keeping Muslims within this left-right paradigm. And nobody else is calling this. I don't know anybody else who's calling this out very clearly except for us, right? Maybe if y'all know somebody, then you can guide me to that channel. But Black people, and you know very well, Said, even Puerto Rican Muslims, they don't play with that left-right paradigm. I've never heard a Black imam ever advising Muslims to vote liberal, vote conservative. Never in my entire life. This is something explicitly practiced within Indo-Pak and Arab communities, where they would go in the masjid and tell Muslims to vote liberal or vote, you know, and you have to vote. And even Haytham Haddad in Britain, it's wajib to vote. Wajib, he said.
Yeah, to vote is like, if it ain't, you know, being backed up with the law of Islam and it's Sharia, I mean, yeah, it is wajib to vote, you know, to vote at all. I mean, I think I've even read, like, you shouldn't be voting. You shouldn't be voting inside of political parties because none of them are in the favor of practicing anything that's really benefiting the masses of individuals, of masses of people.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, because it's a good point that you mentioned about voting, right? We are living in this democratic society, right? We're stuck in it. You get it? So as Muslims, we're forced to participate in it. So how we participate is incredibly important. And this is why I say all the time that Muslims shouldn't vote liberal, they shouldn't vote conservative, they should vote for themselves. They should vote for themselves. They should be completely and totally independent. They should have their own lobbies, and they should purchase their own politicians so they can get their own political agendas done, like all these other groups do.
Yeah.
Jews don't vote liberal conservative. Chinese don't vote liberal conservative. They vote for themselves.
Yeah.
You get it? And we have more than enough numbers and people to operate like this. But what happens is these Easterners, and not us, the Easterners, they insist on giving their votes to their liberal parties for free, without demand. As a matter of fact, the only thing that the only quid pro quo they get from these liberal parties is money to build their institutes, their masajid or whatever. That's it. That's all they're concerned with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Build a nice. So how does this help the Muslim wider Muslim community at all? You should be demanding what the politician should do for you. You do not wait and beg a politician, to give you biscuits and trinkets, and it's totally backwards.
They advertise people entering the fold of Islam more than advertising what the brothers within the fold could do for us. Like, for example, like voting for the brothers of Islam, who are already Muslim, that are in the political. I rarely hear any type of advertising or anything like that for the brothers who are in the right positions to do something about political.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's my opinion, right? If you're going to be in a democratic society, right, you definitely shouldn't be giving your votes away for free. That in my humble opinion, that's haram. You're essentially encouraging and strengthening the enemy, right? And at the same time, you can't divorce yourself from this system and expect that everything's going to be okay, because you still have to be proactive. How do you do that? You get all the Muslims together, and either you bring your own politician from your own people and you put that person forward and you say all the Muslims are going to vote for this person and he's going to get us A, B, C, D, or you buy your politician like everybody else does. Every smart person and every smart group in the West, that's how they do it. I said in the last slide.
That's how the Asians got the Asian hate bill.
Yeah, exactly. How did they do it? They bought the politicians to do it, and that's how they got it. And as simple as that. They didn't.
Meanwhile,
they didn't tell the Asian community to vote liberal. They said, we want this bill, right? If you want these certain thousands of votes, you're going to give us this bill. As simple as that. Go ahead.
I have to head out.
All right, Jazakallah. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for listening. Hayakallah. May Allah reward you. Bless you. I mean, and Sister Rabia, last thoughts.
I mean, well, no real last thoughts about the troll. He'll be back because he does this every so often. And it is what it is.
On record now for the next person who asks,
right?
Just refer him to this video, right?
But it's always him, and it's always the same question. Like, he asks the same question all the time. I mean, most of the times you ignore it, but again, because I watch your videos, like I see him often. But I mean, again, it's to what you were saying. Like, it's a matter of organization, right? And without this platform, like, how are we gonna organize? I think that this is part of the solution, and we need more thinkers to rectify our situation. Exactly. And we should be inviting the Nation of Islam to come and learn, if anything, because it's also a fine balance, right? The Black community is in a state where we need fine tuning as far as our attitudes and our relationships with each other, as far as our attitudes and relationships with our family, as far as the way that we think. That's definitely a positive that they definitely have down pat. Now, as far as the deen, this is something that, after leaving the Nation of Islam, this is something that you come into. And part of their, to what the brother before was saying, once somebody comes into Islam, they want to advertise that, but they don't give them no classes. They're not teaching them anything. Maybe they might teach them how to pray. Maybe. You know, maybe they might give them the lesson about not eating pork, maybe. But especially at this time now, once you come into Islam, where are the causes for the people?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
and it has to be a tuning
we
of.
used to have that. We used to have, you know, very robust and what you call relevant classes for new Muslims. We used to have all of that stuff, and then we didn't, and because
we didn't.
Foreigners, because of them. That's why we didn't. All these dawah programs got stopped, so they can keep building and expanding masjids and stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like it's almost like
there's an element. Can you imagine now? A lot of these people, is you know, for example, the South Asians, they got family members who are Deobandis and Brahmins and whatnot. They are not hostile to their family members.
No.
But they expect us, black folk, to be hostile to our own people on their behalf. And on top of that, they want us to donate and be in the front lines fighting for every single one of their causes while being a hostile and ignoring our own people.
And this is something that I always say is like, okay, when they start, you know, foobarring their situation, they'll always run back to us to come clean it up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to us, they'll leave us in the dust.
Yeah.
So now we're in a unique position.
They're ordering us to distance ourselves from our very own people.
For our very own family. Never mind our people. Members. Never mind about your neighbor.
Yeah, you can't go to your non-Muslim family, anything. Your family gatherings, your family, you know, weddings, nothing. Because they're non-Muslim, you can't do it. You know.
But what does Islam teach us about disowning our family?
You want to see our family. We want to see our family. This is the one time we get to see our family, you know. But when these are celebrations, they go to the molded celebrations of their family members. They ain't got nothing to say about that. That is reserved for us.
Absolutely nothing.
And on top of that, they want us to be hostile to the nation and our own people and our non-Muslim relatives, all kind of stuff. Like, so now we have our own platform. They mad. They upset because we're speaking
because it's taking away from
ourselves,
right?
Yeah, exactly. We're thinking for ourselves now, and they think they have.
You know what? It's almost
those days. Go ahead, sis.
It's almost like a battered woman syndrome, right? A woman is going to be battered by her, or somebody. It doesn't even have to be a woman. Somebody's going to be battered by their spouse repeatedly until they've had enough, and they can no longer be affected by that person, right? It's either you're going to take me down and take me out, or I'm going to eventually leave that situation and do better for myself. And I feel like it's almost like they want that hold to either, you know, so that they can have that control over us. And, you know, and of course, you know, even though we're poor, even though, you know, Black people are technically considered as poor, we're some of the biggest spenders, right? So, you know, they want the bag from not only from the government, but they also want it from us, which leaves us in a position of peril, right? So, you know, now that we have something like this,
we as Black folks, we are the mammies of the earth.
Right.
We are the mammies of the earth. You know, we give the milk, that life-giving milk that is supposed to be for our own children, we give it to the entire planet. And we are feeding the whole earth with our wealth and our resources and our labor and our culture and presence. But we don't benefit ourselves. We don't benefit ourselves with it. Here we are saying it's time for us to benefit ourselves. These guys are getting mad. It's time for us to reach out to the nation of Islam and make da'wah to them, because these people have no history of hostility towards Islam at all. Not like Jordan Peterson, who is openly hostile to Islam.
Right.
They're calling us all kind of hypocrite and all kinds of stuff. Okay, no problem. We can be hypocrites right here, and we'll still, despite the epithets and the insults. Despite all that, we're still going to call our people to Islam.
Exactly.
You can have
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, right?
Yeah. You can have a problem with that all day, all night, leave as many comments as you want and troll the channels, which we still gonna, that's our official position, right? If y'all want to call anti-Muslim people to your platforms and don't say a thing, not a word, people who are going to Al-Aqsa and raiding Al-Aqsa with Zionists and having interviews with the president of Israel. You invite them to Muslim to Muslim platforms, and you don't have a word to say about that. As far as I know, I'm the only person on the Muslim sphere that has called that out specifically, as far as I know. But you come over here and talking about, oh, you promote the Nation of Islam? Okay, I'm promoting the Nation of Islam. Now what? Now what? Is that
can't say nothing?
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? I put Donna Farrakhan's little speak that she's addressing Black women directly on my channel. I'm not taking it down. Refute me.
Why should you take it down?
Yeah. You didn't even,
is it harming anybody?
Listen to it. I bet you didn't even listen to it. Because Donna Farrakhan was addressing Black women directly in a beautiful way. All he saw was Donna Farrakhan. Oh, the Feachaz is promoting the nation. That's it.
That's all they need, right?
That's all they need.
But Islam was built on proofs and evidences. But that's all you needed.
even still, they don't have proof. They don't have evidence. They have is hatred. It burns them to see Black people speaking for themselves. We should be speaking for them. We should be on our minbars talking about Palestine and Uyghurs and Rohingya, and we do it anyways. But that's all we need to talk about. We don't need to talk about gun violence in the Black community. We don't need to talk about the divorce rates in the Black community. You need to talk about the broken families in the Black community, all that Black stuff, all that Black nationalist stuff.
Don't talk like you're Black. Why are you talking like we're Black, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can't talk about that stuff. We definitely can't talk about the racist in the Muslim Ummah who have these large platforms calling to racism. We can't talk about that. The only thing we can do is bow down with our nappy heads and our big noses and our broad nose and big lips and stuff. That's all we can do for them. Well, how about this? How about if we don't bow down? We invited you. We're still here. You know, the reason why I did the live, because he was available at that time. I want to see if he's brave. Let him come. Let him come. They're not brave. They're cowards. I want Black people to see how cowardly they are. Stand up for yourself. These people don't care about you. They're not your brothers. You kidding me? We are here trying to help ourselves. They're coming here to try to destroy what we're trying to build. These are your brothers? Give me a break. Yeah, Sheikh Tahir was condemned for extending olive branch to the NOI and got him to the truth. And who was condemning them? Every single white da'i, Musa Richardson, Omar Quinn, you know, even your typical uncle, like your typical Sambo da'is, Black da'is. And what did he talk about on the Nation of Islam channel?
Tawheed.
Right? This is what he talking about. They're demanding that Sheikh Tahir don't invite the Nation of Islam to real estate. They're demanding that of him. Let them come and demand me. I wish a biscuit would. You see what happens when you make demands of the Feachaz now? Is it burning? No, see, now you're learning. Those days of you making demands of us are long, long gone. Just get it through your head. Look how much this channel has grown since it started. I know it's still small. It's still small. But it's bigger than I thought it would ever be because of stuff we're talking about here. Right. You know what I mean? You know? But those days of you making demands of us are over. They are over. Go ahead, sis.
No, I just like final thoughts. Like, just keep on, stay with it. I know that it's stressful, but keep on doing it. Like, there's enough of us who actually want to learn, and there's enough of us who know better, right? And the only thing that this can do is encourage other people to want to learn and know better. And like-minded people will always find like-minded people, and like-minded people will always be able to educate other people. So those who don't want to learn and want to stay ignorant and whatever else, then so be it. But keep on spreading the truth. And this is the difference between somebody who cares, who's getting their biscuits from Zaddy and caring what and censoring themselves for what they have to say so they can keep on getting that, and for people who don't get their biscuits from Zaddy and don't give a damn, because the truth is always going to be the truth. So that's it.
Yeah,
keep on
we
doing
got
what
our
you're
own
doing.
problems. Go and fix the Brailleys and them. Like, why are you over here for?
Right?
You go fix the Brailleys and the Diobendis and them.
They'll be back. They'll always come around like they always do.
It's because it's not even just him, you know what I mean? But it's because he was available at that time and I caught him, right? So that's why. And I was like, okay, let's see if he'll come on then. You're not brave. These guys, they're running around, like they men, but really, their panties are pink. You get it? So, they're not men, man. Like they're just brave behind keyboards, man. And how many accounts does he have hiding behind so many aliases? You get it?
But they
want to come and tell us who we can and who we can't make dawah to in our community. In our community. They want to tell us who we can put on our platforms. If I want to put a clip from Louis Farrakhan on my platform, I'm going to put a clip from Louis Farrakhan on my platform. It's not your platform. If you don't like it, go listen to Daniel and Sajid and them. This platform is for Black Muslims and Black people. You're welcome to join us. You're welcome to participate. No problem. But don't think any amount of vilifying us is going to stop us. We know our people better than you. We have Muslims that in the Black community that come directly from the church. We have Muslims in the Black community that come from Rastafarianism, and we have Muslims in our community that come from the Nation of Islam. Many Muslims that come from the Nation of Islam. Many.
I would argue to say the majority.
Yeah.
I would argue to say the majority of people in the West, of Black people in the West, came from the NOI.
Yeah.
So.
You know what I mean? So now here's their opportunity, and they can't do it. They can't do it. You know what I mean? They're looking at us like we're different, and we are different. You know what I mean? This channel, I don't know any other channel I've been trying to shut down by more Muslims than this channel. How many times they try to sabotage us, man? For real. Muslims are trying to sabotage us for talking to our own people in a way that they need to be talked to, and we need to hear. We need to be on code. We need to be, if nobody else is showing your people mercy and patience, why do you need to be the one to not show your own people mercy and patience? Why is that a thing amongst Black people? Nobody on earth want to show you mercy and patience, and you yourself don't want to show your own people mercy and patience? So we refute our own people left, right, and center, talk about them, bash them,
backbite them,
backbite them, all kind of stuff. All kind of stuff. You can't show you Black people. I want y'all to hear this now. Why is it that Black people have to join in with other people group to bash other Black people? And then
for the same reason why they don't want Black people to organize.
Communities to come into our communities and be the imams of our communities while doing absolutely nothing for our communities. Islam is the truth of Black American imams aren't addressing the cultural issues affecting their communities because they are listening to people from outside our communities, like this dude, right? Talking about, oh, you hypocrite and stuff. If that moves you, okay, if this is your motivating factor for not speaking the truth, then please get out the way so that those of us who are brave enough to say the truth can do it. We got way too much work to do in our community to be listening to people who are hostile to us dictate to us what we can and can't do. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Abu Bara. Yeah, this is the second live. This is the first time double feature, right? Double feature on the features. First time ever. Ayakumullah. Right now in Philadelphia, Sheikh Tara is doing great work with Warren Demon communities in Philly. I grew up with the Warren Demon. See? You see what I'm saying? How many stories like this? How many stories like this? But we can't talk to them? Give me a break. Maybe you can't talk to them, and we prefer that you don't. Because you don't love them. You don't even love us. You pretend to love us for what we can do for you. We have 30 plus years experience with y'all. And all the outreach you've done in the Black communities. Now, we are saying thanks, but no thanks, and you get mad? Be mad. Be mad then. Go ahead, sis. I know I ranted a little bit. What I know about Islam, you have to make dawah to everyone possible, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
You have to make dawah to everybody. They're telling you to make dawah to everybody except
for you. Except for your own.
For you. People who actually love you and are not hostile to you, but they're mistaken. They're mistaken in their aqidah. La shak. These are the
same people. These are the same people that, you know, won't allow you to marry a Black Muslim, but will allow you to marry an Indian Hindu. Like, come on.
It's
like
unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. You know, so let them burn, man. Let them burn. It's fine. Let them be angry. We gave him a chance to come in and express his bravado. And he showed that, you know, his panties in a bunch, his tampons is stuck, and you know what I mean? Probably getting old and fermenting, right? This is what he showed. These are the people who want to help us. Give me a damn break. Give me a damn break. And plus, we got to understand too, is that not everybody on social media, you may think you're talking to a Muslim. You might be talking to some spook, you know? Straight up. You might be talking to some spook, a goon, you know? You don't know who you're talking to. You get me? And why even waste your time with people like that? But that's why I never, ever address trolls. Like, never, right? But because he was available, I'm like, okay, let's see what he got. As usual, a big, fat, zero, nothing burger. I'm here talking like this about him, and he can't even come on to defend himself.
I think he only came on the mic like one time. I remember.
Yeah, look at how I'm talking about. You think that he'd be brave enough to come and defend himself, correct? At least, you know, like that male ego, you know. No, I got it proved, you know. He can't even humble himself to come and apologize. Either or. Only to type words. That's it. This is why we say don't argue with people, bro. You waste our time, man. But this is just to make an example of, you know, somebody who these questions about us always come up. Why are you pro-black? Why are you calling to black nationalism? Why are you promoting the Nation of Islam? They always ask us these questions, but they won't ask Daniel Haqiqatjou why does he call George Floyd fentanyl Floyd? They won't ask him that. They won't ask Sajid Limpo why is he inviting an alt-writer to his channel. They won't ask Wajdi what did he mean by African American slang. They won't ask Shamsi, what did you mean by this racism thing, this slavery thing happened some 500 years ago. They won't ask Asma Hakim, what did you mean by why are these people attacking these white people just because they're white after the George Floyd protest? They won't ask any of these questions.
Whoa, white people were attacked.
Exactly. They won't ask any of these questions. All of this harsh language is reserved for you, black people. Assalamu alaikum, brother Josh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing tonight, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How you doing, bro?
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I was just going to echo what you just said, literally. You know, they have one language. They have one way of speaking to black people, which is this lion-like, fierce, hostile type of language. And then for, their people, the immigrant Muslim-like people, it's a very soft type of adversary type of language, and there was that contrast you did a while back with I can't remember who it was, but it was someone in Speaker's Corner in the UK, hostile type of talk to the NOI, even though they were cordial with him. And with the Rafida Shia, talking vile against, the companions and stuff like La'natullah.
Exactly. That was Sheikh Mohammed. And we called it out.
Right.
Were you going to say this Rafida Shia is Muslim now too, or what? Why does he have this nice, soft, cordial language for this Rafida? But the Nation of Islam, he becomes this fierce beast. It's because there is one language they speak for black people and one language they speak for everybody else, especially for Zadie.
Yeah, they don't see black people the same way. They don't see them as people. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Now that we know this and we understand this, how are we supposed to react? You see this brother, right? The brother who came, he's obviously a coward, very clearly a coward. You know what I mean? And this is how they are, really. This is how.
The only time they don't treat you like that is when they want you to do the security at the masajid.
Yeah.
Then they have like a nice tone with you because you could protect us, right?
Exactly.
You could put yourself in danger for them.
For them.
Or if they're trying to get money from you to donate to whatever cause that they have.
Yeah.
When it benefits them, that's when they talk nice to you. But otherwise,
exactly. But they will accuse black people even of racism. They have no issues of doing that. No problems at all. They will accuse black folk of racism, but they will never, you don't find them accusing the actual racist, the white supremacist, white supremacist tendencies of racism. They make all kinds of excuses and nice words and everything for them, right? So we have to realize what, after so many years of being Muslims, we have to know what the game is, and we now have to act accordingly. You get it? Bowing down to them for the sake of brotherhood is absolutely inappropriate. Absolutely inappropriate. They do not accept it for themselves. Why should we accept it?
Bilal, do you think that's a twofold situation though? Because you have to think about the immigrant situation where once they come here, they're seen as not black, which is they're not totally seen as white, but they're seen as more white than us. So, do you think that's part of it?
That's a part of
Like,
demographic planning, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So the Salafis only want to give dawah to people in prison, people who are easily influenced and controllable. Brother Naka, alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey, bro. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. Let's go over here. I've never been a thug or a prison, but I can identify with Salafi prison now. Even the Salafi prison now is very good, in my opinion. Right? But there's two parts to it. There's a part where, it's dawah, like real dawah. And then there's a part where it's like the Abu Khadija type stuff. Yeah, the Abu Khadija type stuff. They're looking for soldiers. You know what I mean? Either way, I don't have an issue with that because dawah should be made to prisoners, of course. However, once they get out of prison, there should be programs for them for when they get out. You can't just leave them to the wolves. You know what I mean? So, but I'm definitely for prison dawah. 100%. I support that. And I support Salafis making dawah to prisoners. 100%. That's something else. And that's something, again, that's like something that within our community that we can actually work on. You know what I mean? Some of the best Muslims you find have been to prison. All right?
It's not so much of a working on giving dawah in prison. It's the after effect of once they get out. That's where the shift is.
For them to get out, and this requires cooperation from the community. But how are you going to cooperate with a community if you just like a self destructive inferno that keeps burning itself over and over and over again? Like, that's how you act. Everything has to be a refutation. Every single thing. You can't just you don't have any concept of choosing your battles. Like none whatsoever. If somebody disagrees with you or even corrects you in a way that you don't like, for you have to fight. You get it? You have to argue. And this is really effeminate. And particularly for Black men, we have to get out of that habit, because for us, what's important for us is humility and motivation and discipline, especially discipline. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think you made a good point about, a lot of these people online are, spooks or agents. So many people get caught up talking to these people, proposing these dangerous extremist-like ideas, especially like Daniel, who's likely, I think he's an agent. And there's a lot of people.
I agree.
And I said it last time. I think there's a spook. He moved exactly like a spook. He moved exactly.
He's just like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They recruit people like Daniel, and not necessarily. They're not necessarily always white, but usually they are, and they come in to the communities with these extremist ideas. Start, calming the people to see what sticks, like some kind of honeypot. And if someone latches on, that's when they go for them. It's one of the oldest FBI counterintelligence tricks in the game, and a lot of people fall for it. So, yeah,
you're 100% right. The intelligence agencies, they like these type of educated people, these Harvard types, and these Ivy League school types, whatever. They always hire them all the time, and they tell you too. They tell you they hire these Ivy League types, But we put out on our channel, that this woman was learning Arabic, right? Specifically to do what? To study the Black Salafi Muslims in Philadelphia. White woman. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, Why do you think that is? Why? Because she has some nice, good intentions for Black Salafi Muslims in Philly? Come on, man. Come on. She's vying for a job. Like, wake up and smell the coffee. And what's even more embarrassing is that she will have more knowledge than the majority of the Salafis in Philly who became Muslim because they loved Allah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. You know, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves. So we are the ones who, the change is upon us. Allah doesn't change the condition of a people, change the condition of themselves. You get it? If all you can do when you come to this channel, right? Like anything that you can come and try to troll us, whether you're gonna be looking at you like we're looking at you funny. Because we know that you're not sincere, like at all. You don't care about Black people at all.
Oh, of course not.
But you do care that this channel is reaching the hearts of Black people instead of y'all.
It's just you're saying something different. You're not saying what the status quo is saying. You're not saying what the YouTubian Islamic elite are saying. And since a lot of what you say conflicts with them, that causes problems with the way they think. So obviously, anything you say, it signals to them that it's all the buzzwords and in their little online communities that they hear, like leftist, all that nonsense, even though it has nothing to do with that. Since you've taken a different stance, they just they go into refutation mode. That's what everyone does on here. It's ridiculous.
Can I make a comparison?
Go ahead.
Okay, my comparison is both of these channels, because I watch both. I think that they're both on the same wavelength, right? It's just that for two different communities, Islam for Europeans, and then the Feachaz. You guys basically talk about the same things, right? But your outreach is for your community. They would never go after Robert like that.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Right? But they'll bring that heat here.
Robert, he knows. He's very, very smart. He knows more about white supremacy than I do, to be honest. I have to give it up to him. Like he's like a low-key scholar on that stuff. Right? And he knows exactly how to make outreach to his people. Which is a great channel. So like everybody should listen to that, even though we're not a part of that community. We should be listening to that channel anyways, just because he has some excellent information on there. But I mean, they will never treat him the same way that they treat you. No, of course not. Of course not. Right. And that's one of the things he says as well. He actually says that. Salaam Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sister Aisada?
Yes, Aisada, yes.
How you doing, sis? What you got for us?
Yeah, just let me turn off. I have YouTube on two spots.
Turn off your YouTube, right? Turn off your YouTube.
Okay, that's better.
All right. Go ahead, sis. What you got for us?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of statements about my thoughts about the nation. Mm-hmm. That's my journey through Islam came via the
Another one. Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And
go ahead.
For some, I just want to point out the parallels or the things that were beneficial and people branching out and then going to Sunni Islam. Well, when you come in the nation, there's a lot of different things that you have to do. And after I took Shahada and even a little bit after, I'm like, okay, this is why they did this, to make it known to us, because with Black people, Muslims weren't coming for us to show us Islam. I don't care where you lived, where you've been, who you knew. It seemed like they had no interest into reaching out to the Black community as far as Islam goes. So Black Americans were so indoctrinated into Christianity. We were the most Christian people out of everybody else in the country here. So I think the nation brought a perspective that kind of broke us up from that. And they did a very good job with it. It got us away from Christianity. It got us away from eating pork. Because if you know people in the Black community who are not Muslims, pork is the thing. They're porkified. So The nation was very beneficial in breaking that up as well. Beneficial in stopping fornication, because you'll have people who claim to be Christians, but they're clubbing, sleeping with people, and going to church the next day. So it's like the nation kind of made you stand on your square. Because in the nation, if you fornicated, and say if you were a sister and you came in the mosque pregnant, you were expected to stand up and say, basically point out the mistake you made, you recognize it, and then you were expected to leave for a little while until you get yourself together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I was in the nation, we had a sister. She was in Worthing's community, but she started out in the nation in what we call the first. The first resurrection is when Elijah Muhammad was controlling everything. They refer to that as the first. So she was in the first. And there was a delegation of sisters that Elijah Muhammad sent to Sudan to learn Quran and to learn Arabic.
Now, can you please repeat that, sis? Because when you tell this to people, they don't believe it.
Yeah, it's true. There was a delegation of sisters that Elijah Muhammad sent to the Sudan to learn the Quran and Arabic. So one of these sisters was my Arabic teacher, named Sister Nura, and she passed away a couple of years ago. May Allah be pleased with her. Very efficient sister. As a matter of fact, she had glaucoma, so she was blind actually. But she had a machine that she would use to check our work and everything. She drilled us on pronunciation, rewrite. So after I learned all that, I went back to my what we call MGT classes in the nation, and I taught prayer class. So I taught Rak'ahs, I taught Al-Fatiha, Ikhlas. So there's a lot of things that we do in the nation, but we try to come from a standpoint of being in the Black community, because our community has different issues. Like when you first come in the nation, you learn Al-Fatiha, but it's in English. And we figured, why learn it in Arabic? That's not your language. You speak English, so you need to learn this in English. Rak'ahs were learned as well, but I think the nation is very beneficial in bridging that gap, because it's a different culture to be a Muslim. It's a totally different thing. So it's hard if you're a Christian and you're trying to look at it from a different point of view. If you have not been immersed in it, it seems like it's impossible for you to grasp onto it. So the nation was very beneficial in that, moving us away from Christianity, pork, and all of those things. But when those sisters went to Sudan, and when they came back, they were the one who was my Arabic teacher. She was a principal at one of the Sister Clara Muhammad schools. So they imparted some of that before the nation fell. So you had some people in the nation towards the end, they were learning Arabic and some of those things as well. But it served to be an excellent bridge for that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know this stuff. And when you tell them that even Elijah Muhammad, he sent Malcolm X to Saudi Arabia to get help he's telling him to outreach with these people, right? So that they can get like assistance from the Muslim brothers, from overseas. And what you got to understand, the American or the Western experience with Islam is not like the Eastern experience at all. Because like you mentioned, no Easterners were coming to give us Islam. So of course, there are going to be big problems with the Aqidah. Like it's not like something that is far-fetched, because nobody was making dawah to Black folk. The first time that Black people received the message of anything about Allah or Islam or anything like that was Noble Drew Ali. And then Noble Drew Ali had his students, one of them being Elijah Muhammad. Okay. And then from Elijah Muhammad, you get Malcolm X, who joined the nation and blew up the Nation of Islam himself, right? Right, Malcolm X. And then there was a split after Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, they split. And then Elijah Muhammad it was clear that he was trying to mainstream, during the end of his life, he was trying to mainstream the nation. That was clear. As you mentioned, he's sending sisters to go learn Arabic in Sudan. We knew about all this stuff. But when you tell Muslims all this, oh, why are you promoting a nation? Man, that old time stuff don't work anymore. Look what Charles Irby said, okay? I grew up in a middle-class Black community. There has been zero dawah efforts in my community. We need to speak about to all classes of Black Americans forever dawah efforts. Thank you. This is what we're saying.
Exactly.
You will find so many channels with no issues trying to reach out to white folk for dawah, and we want white people to become Muslim, because if they become Muslim, then maybe a lot of our problems will end. But they are telling Muslims that it's okay to be alt-right. This is the type of dawah they're making. It's okay to be a white nationalist and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So they're not going to no type of grassroots type of dawah method. They're telling white people that it's okay to have your white supremacist tendencies and be Muslim at the same time. And nobody can say anything about that. But if I post a post from Donna Farrakhan, you got a big problem? Give me a break, right? Mr. Increase said making transition housing for released prisoners is some tricks of the Ikhwan, letting them be homeless is a manhaj of the super solid. Stuff wrong. Oh, stuff for a lot. Oh my gosh, that was funny. That was funny. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, Sister Aisada.
I'm trying to think of something else that I thought was pretty parallel.
I'm going to say that I find the parallel as to what's happening now in the Black community and the lack of the nation being there and the lack of dawah, and we see how the Muslims are acting now as opposed to how they were when Salafiyah first came on the scene. There's a huge disconnect. The one thing that I loved about the nation was that they taught you lifestyle skills. We don't have that now. We don't teach it in the Salafi community, right? We don't, and we don't teach it in the Black community either. And it's evident when you look around.
What, sis Rabia? What did you say? I lost you there for a second. Sorry,
we don't teach lifestyle skills. We don't teach. I was saying that we don't teach lifestyle skills in the Black community anymore. There's none of that. The one community that was actually teaching it was the nation, right? When I remember when I was living in Philadelphia, life skills. Yeah. It's right. Simple things from like homemaking, from mending your own clothes, from the way that you sit, the way that you walk, the way that you talk. None of that stuff is being taught anymore. As far as cleaning yourself and having respect for yourself, and when a woman should be seen and heard and when she shouldn't be. We don't have any of that anymore, right? And it's evident when you look around you. And what's the correlation? Well, one, we don't have the nation there anymore. Two, the dawah scene isn't what it used to be, right? And the other thing was, oh man, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Never mind. I'll talk about it.
Muslim immigrants had an exploitative relationship with Black Americans. They would be paid to teach us that, but they were sending the money home back to India, Pakistan, or Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, it's always been like that. But, at the end of the day, if you don't basically make the effort to change yourself and to change your family and change what's going on in your community, that's just going to be the same old stuff. That's why anybody can come into the what is known as the Black community and do anything that they want. We are, like I said, we are the mammies of the world. You know, the life-giving breast milk that we're supposed to give to our own babies, we give it to everybody else's babies.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
I
I mean?
think that's why the Elijah Muhammad's mantra of "do for self," that's a very powerful statement, because the nation is still around today. They still teach those classes every Saturday in the morning. The sisters who they call MGT, they have a class. There's sewing, there's prayer class, there's cooking class every Saturday. On Wednesdays, brothers have FOI class, and that's a separate issue. I don't know what brothers learn in FOI class because I'm not a brother. I'm not privy to know that information. But they still have that structure. They still have that discipline. I know in my city, well, since COVID hit, I don't think they have really been active in any city really at this point. But I think I've seen them slowly trickling, back out. But in major cities, you can see brothers selling papers, religiously. That's something that's always been done, even when Elisha Muhammad was among us. So, but I think the nation is very beneficial with Black people because it comes at you with Black culture. Because what I found in Islam, different groups, that a lot of the things that they do, it is born out of their own personal culture. Like, if I've had some people see that I'm a Muslim say, "Why are you Muslims? Don't they bury baby girls?" That was somebody else's culture that they did that. That's not Islamic. That was whatever culture that was. So different things based on how a group of people does them, it's born out of the particular culture that they grew up in. So the Nation of Islam took Black culture and tried to connect it to Islam in a way that it would stick. Because even people that I know who have left the nation, who haven't even gone mainstream Muslim, they still stick to those teachings of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, the discipline, the what you would call it, the do for self. It sticks for you for life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the point that I wanted to make earlier, is that when I was in Philly, like I saw more of, I can't remember what the group is called, the ones that dress up like cowboys or in space suits and stuff like that. I've seen them giving dawah more than I've seen any Muslims on the street giving dawah. And I'm like, that's, there was a time, when the Muslims are out giving dawah on the street. We don't even see that anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Slowly you see people trying to do it now, but it's nowhere near to what it used to be.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, because all that got killed because nobody had the right to make dawah anymore. Thank you, Spubs. You know what I mean? Who are you to make dawah? That's what they were saying. So everybody got scared. If you said something wrong, they're going to refute you publicly. So, but me, I'd be like, I wish a biscuit would. I wish you would. I'm right here. I'm not hiding. You know what I mean?
And I know some mainstream Muslim groups. One of the things I think they have a problem with the nation is they comment on the nation. Basically, they have a saying that Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. For the nation, that's not saying Farad Muhammad was God. Basically, they're saying that Black people were in such a horrible state because at that time, before the nation came on scene, when white people were walking on the road, Black people had to get off the road until white people passed. And when they passed by you, you weren't supposed to look at them. You were supposed to look down.
Yeah.
And there weren't Black men and women. You were Black man and Black boy and Black girl, even if you were a grown woman yourself. So we were in a position to where that was the norm for us. It was allowed. We didn't think anything of it because that was commonplace. That was the norm. So basically, when Master Farad Muhammad came, he broke all that up with what he did.
And basically they're saying only Allah had the power to do that. So that was Allah working through Farad Muhammad, because nothing, I know you all have all probably heard people in the nation say God is not spooky. Nothing, if you pray for something, it's not going to fall out of the sky. Allah is going to give you what you asked for via a human being. So for the Nation of Islam, Master Farad Muhammad was that human being. He is the one who
even still, even if that is the understanding, the statement itself is kufri, right? And however, it is easy for somebody who believes like this to transition from that kufri statement to real Islam. You understand? And this idea that they have that God is not spooky, why are they saying this? They're saying this because whatchamacallit, and when black people were Christian, right? They were told about this pie in the sky, like you can only wait until you die to reach heaven and these type of things, and you know what I mean. So they had this, God is not a spook, all this kind of stuff. But even still, even though we understand the connotations behind it, it's still a kufri type statement, right? It's a kufri type statement, right? So now there has to be a transition, there has to be a transition from the mistake, the dogmatic or the doctrinal mistake to that which is correct. And it's easy for you to correct somebody if you're both agree on looking on the Quran and what the Quran says, because this is what the nation say that they agree with. It's easy to make that transition. But when you start vilifying people who have these mistakes, why would they be incentivized to listen to you? Because you're not coming to them from the state of concern or the state of, of brotherhood or anything like that. You're coming to them to blast them. You get it? And that started happening in the 2000s, right? Where Muslims, instead of, doing outreach with the nation, they were just outright blasting them. You know what I mean? And that's that right there. We don't do that here. We have no problems educating them. We have no issues. Let's talk about it and let's look in the Quran. And even still, you can't expect these people, because they're attached to the Nation of Islam beliefs, you can't expect them to change overnight. But that's how dawah is. You know what I mean? That's how dawah is. People don't necessarily become Muslim because you talk to them for an hour, right? It needs to sink in. You know what I mean? It may take some time, some convincing. Maybe something in their life will happen and then get them to change. You get me? But the guidance that comes from Allah directly. So those people now, they want to accuse us of calling the people to Allah being in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. That's what they want to accuse us of saying. And of course, we don't do it. We never said it. And it's laughable. It's laughable to even address that.
I think with other groups of people, when it comes, as it relates to Black people, and I've seen it in, and I'm not going to label anybody, but I've seen it in almost every other ethnic group. They want to impose this divide and conquer thing on us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they not want to see us prosper? I don't know what it is.
Well, Black unity has always been an issue of national security particularly for the states, right? And J. Edgar Hoover explicitly said that. Not implicitly. He didn't imply it. He explicitly said that.
Yeah.
He said the most dangerous concern for America is that a Black Messiah comes up and rises up. He made it a point to use the FBI and weaponize it against every single grassroots Black organization that ever came up, including the African, was it African? The one with Marcus Garvey. What is it called again? African National.
United. Was that the UNIA? No.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it is. That the NAACP. Okay. The whatchamacallit. Of course, the Nation of Islam thoroughly infiltrated the Nation of Islam. The Black Panthers thoroughly infiltrated. Okay. And when the FBI assassinated both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, right, they made sure that there was not another grassroots Black leader ever again. And every Black leader that has come since then, except with the exception of Louis Farrakhan, has been put there by government forces, whether the Republicans or the Democrats or whoever it was, except for Louis Farrakhan, and you can even say Dr. Claude Anderson. Even though Dr. Claude Anderson, he worked in politics for a very long time, right? But he's not a government spook, for sure. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, that's the one. That's the one, right? So divide and conquer in the Black community is very, very easy. It's something that's simple. So it is up to us as Muslims in the Black community, particularly Salafis, to make sure that we bring a message of unity, because this is our religion, right?
Right.
We're supposed to be bringing the people to the truth, with patience and perseverance and manners, right? And we're not supposed to fear the blame of the blamers. And the first people we're supposed to call the truth, as Allah says in the Quran, save yourselves and your families from the fire. Every prophet that has ever come was sent to their nation. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the exception. He was the only prophet that was sent to the entire earth, but even still, he was sent to his people speaking their language.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to speak our language to our people. And just because these people speak English, it doesn't mean they speak our language. And we have to let them know that.
Right. And that's where I think culture comes in. Because as I said before, and we agreed that the Arabs were not coming for us to show us anything. You can go to their stores and they don't greet you. They've got pork skins and beer there. And even at the Arabic restaurants, there's a Muslim restaurant in my city, and they sell bacon hamburgers. And I asked them, I said, aren't you guys Muslim? They said, yeah, but this is an American restaurant. I'm like, what? And that's one of the things about being in the nation. That is totally unacceptable. Whether you in the nation and you think you got an American restaurant, your faith is supposed to filter over into your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if you're a Muslim,
and I'll go one further, sis. Where are the Muslims to put a stop to that? The Black Muslims specifically, because you know what they're doing. The American dream for the foreigners is always found in the Black community. Always. Right. You know what I mean? True. They come, they set up shop, they do things that Black people can't do. They get funding that Black people can't get. And then they sell Black people things that they know specifically harms them for that dream. And they don't tell them anything about Islam, but these are our brothers. These are our brothers? I'm telling you as a Muslim, as a Salafi, that these are not our brothers. These people are hostile against us. You have to be intelligent and understand this. You understand? Exactly. You have to be intelligent and understand this. At the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, were the Muslims calling the Munafiqun our brothers? They were Muslim-looking people, Muslim-acting people, Muslim-dressing people, but these people were hostile towards the Muslims, correct?
Right, correct.
So they acted appropriately. Black people have to learn how to act appropriately. You get it? And we are doing that here. Alhamdulillah, we're doing that here.
Yes.
We're not apologizing for it.
That's right.
You know? But anyways, I'll let the sisters get the last words in before we head out for this double feature tonight. Double feature on the features. Go ahead.
I don't think I really have anything really, but it was great to be on and try to. I hope we can continue to bridge that gap. Basically, like I said, I think the nation was very beneficial in bringing Black people out of Christianity. But remember, a couple of minutes ago, you were mentioning that the FBI's part in killing Malcolm and Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that keeps Black people today kind of away from the nation. There's this, I'm going to say misconception because I know it to be different. There's a misconception that they say, okay, well, the nation, y'all had Malcolm killed and Elijah Muhammad was sleeping with young girls. Mm-hmm. At the time, Elijah Muhammad had, and I'll say in Islam, you can have up to 4 wives. I will refer to them as his wives. That's what that's my understanding. His original wife, Mother Clara, had passed already, and he wanted other children for legacy purposes. I don't see anything wrong with that. The youngest sister at that time was 22 years old. She passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, Mother Tanetta. And she's the mother of the representative for Minister Farrakhan right now, Brother Ishmael. So these misunderstandings or misconceptions keep other Black people from jumping over into the nation. Some of them have a lot of interest. They have a reverence for Malcolm, but because of those things, they feel like they shouldn't get involved. So, inshallah.
Well, I have a different take on that altogether because I've read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I've listened to lectures from Dr. Zach Kondo, right? So what seems to be apparent is that, like many powerful people, Elijah Muhammad got involved in some of these relationships. And there was, even though there was obviously interference from the FBI, very clearly interference from the FBI in the assassination of Malcolm X. No doubt that the nation members, they were the ones who pulled the trigger, right? And they were ordered to by Elijah Muhammad's son. I can't remember his name. What's his name? Who? Not Worthy. No, not him at all. The oldest one. What is his name? Is it Elijah Jr.? I can't remember. I can't remember his name. Right, but these are the facts of the situation. However, the nation under Louis Farrakhan, right, is not the same nation under Elijah Muhammad. We have to make that distinction. It's
correct. That's right.
Completely different group, totally different. Even a nation under Farrakhan isn't the same nation under Farrakhan.
Right, that's true.
If we're being honest, like the nation today is nothing like the early nation from the 80s and late 70s, early 80s, and
you're right. It's not. It is.
It's not at all. Not at all. It's not the same group. So, and as a matter of fact, in my opinion, Louis Farrakhan today, he's more of almost like a Baptist Christian preacher, almost like in my opinion. He went through so many stages. He was even working with the Scientologists for a minute there, right? So he's just like. It's not the same group. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But as you were mentioning in terms of the discipline and the classes and the outreach and grassroots work, I mean, you can't take this away from them, right? And on top of that, it's very clear that they're concerned about Black people and the well-being of Black people. That's very obvious, right? So I don't see any issue with reaching out to them at all and calling them to real Islam. I don't see any problem with that at all. Right? Sister Rabia?
there shouldn't be an issue with calling anybody to real Islam, right? We're like, that's what we're supposed to do. But back to what I was saying earlier is that, you know, I like the black community needs. Yes, baby. Give me a boy. I will in a minute, please. One moment. The black people need the nation. If anything, you know, for the finishing school part of it, as far as, you know, the discipline acts of life, and just getting along in general, because that's the one thing that the Salafi community doesn't have. We have a bunch of people who've come into Islam but didn't leave Jahiliyyah alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one thing that the nation gave us, but they didn't necessarily give us Islam. So there has to be some sort of a cooperation until we can get it together, until we can establish that, until we can build on that. There should be a cooperation, and we should be calling them to Islam, right? And that's basically it. As far as other people groups coming into the conversation and trying to degrade it, so what? I mean, that's what they're, you know, that's what some people are designed to do, is to cause interference. We know this. History has taught us this. Anytime there's been any sort of upliftment in the Black community, there's always been somebody to tear it down. This history teaches us this. So, you know, as a people, we got to ignore that and move on from that, and not let deflectors deflect.
Mm-hmm. Barakallahu feekum. I'd like to thank all our guests, all the people who participated on the live tonight. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the comments. I'd like to thank Ahmed Pemba, who inspired this, right, for being a troll, right? We invited you. We had 2 hours to come on, and he didn't, okay? And that just shows the bravado of these people who are trying to give us good advice. These are the people who are trying to give you good advice. If y'all even talk to these types anymore, please just leave me for 3 days. Okay? You know, just leave me alone for a few days, man, because these people are wasting our time. We got work to do. All right? So, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.